welcome to another tutorial. Today we got an email asking us about image stacking and what exactly is image stacking. So last night we went out and took a few photos to help illustrate how to do this. So what we're going to do is, right now I'm in Adobe Lightroom. We're in version 4. I'm going to add some real quick filters or real quick adjustments to the images, and then we're going to jump over into Photomatix to show you how to stack the images to come up with one image. For those who do not really think HDR is much of photography, may not like this tutorial, but it does give an image a very interesting look. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a series of images and we're going to go from what we did here to a finished image that looks something similar to this. So let's just go ahead and jump into Lightroom and let's start the process on how we're going to change this. Okay, so first things we're going to do, you have to have a series of photos. Okay, I have about 9 photos here, and we're gonna, what you do is you're just gonna highlight a couple of different parts of the image. What you're going to need to do this is some simple things you're going to have is a tripod or something very sturdy for your camera to sit on. As you can see, this is a 6-second exposure, so you're going to have the camera sitting on something pretty still. The other thing you need is a wireless remote or the timer on the camera to allow you to fire the shutter. The simple flashlight. We used just a mag light on this particular train to create the effect that we're looking for. And then of course you're going to need your digital SR camera or even just your camera. So what we're going to do is let's start applying some of these quick adjustments. So now that we're in Lightroom, we are working with the NEF file, which is a raw file. So to do this image, I would highly suggest that you shoot in raw. Okay, so all I'll do, I'm going to change the clarity of here to about 15. We're going to skip all of the other things as far as sliders go, all the way down till we get here to the sharpening. Raise this to 40. Luminance, raise this to 40 as well. 100% of the detail. So these are the only things I'm going to adjust in Lightroom. But now what I have to do is I have to adjust all the images. So the last thing we're going to do is, this was actually shot at nighttime. It was about, I don't know, almost midnight. You can see there's some lights in the background. That's the freeway that runs behind this particular train. So what I want to do is I want to change this to like a cool blue sky. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the white balance tool here and picking a part of the image that's pretty neutral. Okay, now it gives me a cool color. Now I got a bluer tint to my image. So I have to apply all of these filters now to all the other images that I'm going to use. So how to do that in Lightroom is you just click on the first image that we did the adjustments on. Go to the last image, hold the shift key down and hit and click, which highlights that whole row of images between the two that you clicked on, and then hit sync. I'm just going to hit check all. I want everything that I have on there done, so I'm going to hit synchronize. And Lightroom now has already done the work, so that's all we have to do. With these images selected, we're just going to go File, Export. And I'm going to export these onto a folder that I already have on my hard drive and hit Export. It's already telling me that these files already exist. I've already done this, but for the sake of doing this image, because for the time wise, we're just gonna, you would just hit OK and it would write your images. I'm gonna hit cancel because I've already got the images in there. And basically at this point we are done in Lightroom. So now we'll open up Photomatix Pro, and what you do is you click on the load bracketed photos, hit browse, go to the file that you had those images in, and they're going to be way down here at the bottom. So here's the images of the train. So I have all these images, so I'm going to just click on the first one, shift, click on the last one, selects all my images, hit open. Then I'm going to hit OK. The spacing here, the EV spacing, I'm going to use the smallest number I can use, which is 1/3. All of the images were shot at the exact same EV values, but you have to have a different value in order for Photomatix to process the image. So we're going to use 1/3 and hit OK. These options here I'm going to leave just as they are. I'm not going to change them at all. I do want to reduce the noise on a couple of images. The underexposed, but they're all underexposed, so I'm going to use that one. Reduce chromatic aberrations. On this image I should not have a lot because it was dark at night, but with the cars driving by I could get some reflection, so I'm going to go ahead and select to remove the chromatic aberrations. Most of the time you're not going to have to use it. A lot of times you're going to use it if you're shooting around water, ice, stuff like that where you get a reflection. Even some night photography, if you're looking up in the sky, you will do that. So what it will do now is you will use Photomatix to stack all the images. I've used other programs out there. I tried Image Stacker, just got a horrible result. I tried GIMP, which is a Google software or free software. Same thing. I could not stack the images the way that I wanted to get the entire boxcar lit up in the way that I did it. And what you do is you take a bunch of images, and while this is moving it over, what you do is you take your image and your flashlight, and what we did, I highlighted the front part of the train with the first image, and as you see, as I move over the next image, I use the flashlight just to highlight the next part of the train, the boxcar. The third image a little bit farther back. The fourth image I did again a little bit farther back on the train. The fifth image I did the back of the train to highlight the back. And the last two I just did the gravel, the wheels itself. Tried not to get too much of the train itself, but I did the gravel on both the front and the back of the image. And what this does is, like I say, when Photomatix stacks all these images for us, it's going to put them in there and highlight that particular part of the image so that you get one complete image. So it takes Photomatix, quite a bit to process these images. I mean, it is processing about 9 photos. And I'm processing them in a JPEG format to make it faster for the video. But when I did the original image, I did them under RAW files and transferred to a TIFF file. The image itself was almost 1 gigabyte size big, which is quite large for one photo. When you're shooting a RAW format, the camera we use this to do with is shooting about 100 megabyte per image. So it's just over 900 megabytes for one complete file. So we just did this under a JPEG image to make it faster. So once Photomatix here has aligned the images, it'll open it up, and then we'll go through some real quick slider adjustments. They give the image a total look. I know there's some other software out there people are using. Photoshop is another one. CS4 has a photo stacking option. CS5 does too. I still just use Photomatix. I tried this again with a different program, Dynamic Photo HDR5. Didn't get a really good result, so I went back to Photomatix and had Photomatix stack the images for me. Turned out to be really good. So now we're going to, as it says, it's reducing the chromatic aberration. Again, you could have skipped this. For this video, I probably should have skipped it. But, and again, when you're shooting that long of exposure, sometimes you're going to get a little bit in there. So I thought I would just go ahead and do it. So once Photomatix has opened the photo up, I'll get rid of the preset panels and hit Fit. And this is really the final image. When you use Photomatix, like I said, the last settings you used, it automatically comes back up. So, well, like I said, what we can do, you can just change it. The strength we bring it down from 100. You're going to see, and it almost looks like it was shot in the daytime. It was not shot in the day. This, like I said, this was close to midnight last night. So I'm going to keep the strength all the way up at about 100. Color saturation, actually I think I like this somewhere right about 60 to 65. Really gives that train a little more life to it. Luminosity, this one typically, again, 8 was where I finished the image at, because you can see as you take it down, it just looks bad. Normally I would keep this right about 2. But again, I wanted to make this boxcar stand out, so I moved this up to 8.0 or thereabout. Detail, contrast, same thing. If you drop it off, like I said, it looks like way too bright. And you can see a little bit of the star details up here, and you can see that they are moving because it does take a while to take these photos. So I'm going to move this back over to where it was at about 8. Lighting adjustments, again, I went between the natural and the medium. All depends. The medium gave it more of a hard look. I liked it. I really did. I really liked the way that it made the picture look. So you can pick between the two. Again, because the color of the sky, I use the natural. Even though I really like the way the medium separated the two, like they say, the train from the background. So we'll do this one at medium to show you what it looks like. Smooth highlights, if you drag it all the way up to the side again, you're gonna blow up, make it look, I say it's way too bright. So I kept this down to about 10. White balance, I left at 250. Black, again, I like a little bit of black in the image, so I dropped that. It was at 0 when you first open it, so I dropped that, brought it back up to about 250. I find that 250 works really good for a lot of images. I just like a little bit of contrast in the image, so 250 seems to work really well. It's not a number you have to use. If I were to bring this up to about 1, you'll see that we still give it a little bit more depth. But like I said, I was comfortable with this image at right about 250. The gamma I didn't touch. Temperature I didn't touch because I changed that into Lightroom. Micro smoothing, again, you can crank this up a little bit. It helps smooth out some of the texture, but when it does it, it brightens it up a little bit too much for my taste. So that's why I kept it down. Again, it's just personal preference. It's how you want your image to look, the way you remember seeing it that night when you were taking your picture. So this one I would turn up to about -7, -6 at the most. Shadows and clipping and smooth, I didn't change at all. And so this was really just the basic image when I was finished. But that's what you have to do. It's a simple process to do. It's a lot of fun. You can make some very interesting looks. But like I said, there's a lot of people who don't like the HDR look. When you're talking about night photography, a simple flashlight, this is the type of effects you can achieve with some simple adjustments. And again, I happen to just use Photomatix. And like I said, if I was really going to do this 100%, I would go through here and remove some of these stars, or taking more pictures and made those star trails actually curve off of the page. And then when you're done, you hit the process button. It'll actually make the image for you into one. It's a cleaner image than what you get whenever you're just doing a preview. So, and again, it's just how you want it to look. I mean, when I did the picture last night, it actually was kind of, I don't know. I mean, we're just going to click done. I'm not going to change the color, the sharpening. We did all that earlier, so I'm just going to click done. When I took the picture, it had more of a brownish look. And again, it's just because Southern California, the smog in the air. But I like the bluer look on the image. So I just used the white balance tool to change that color for me. So thank you for the question. Like I said, it's a lot of fun, very simple to do. You can look up a lot of things on night photography. They call light for, there's all kind of different things they'll use for it. But typically, the darker skies work better. I wish I didn't have this billboard here in the background. I know Uncle Sam wants you and stuff like that. I really don't care about that. I could have cropped that out too in Photoshop later. But just real quick, that's how you do it. So if you have any more questions on this particular video or any videos we have done before, drop us a comment, send us an email, and I'll be sure to get back to you as quickly as I possibly can.